So a lot of programming and a lot of mistakes have happened. So in my previous video, we covered the file structure, but here it is in full detail because the camera screen was in the way, but here's your entire file structure. So we have icons. The icons have all the icons in it. It also has some vectors. This one's just a blob. I don't know, but we have that. And then we have other images such as the image placeholders, the splash image. This is a basic Expo splash image. This is mine. And then we also have components, which has the analytics page, barcode scanner page under components, miscellaneous, models, settings. And then after all that, we have the pages, which I've created 1, 2, 3, and we'll look over them in a little bit. So the main point of this video is to showcase the Stripe integration that took me 2 days to implement because I do not know how to implement Stripe into software. So there was a lot of documentation reading, and ChatGPT did not help at all. It did help with the flow, but for programming, it did not help. So there we have the pages, and then we have the styles, which hold some of the styles. And then we have, of course, the app.js, app.json, and then all the rest of the NPM and React stuff. So let's go over these 4 files that we have here. So we have a new file called join company screen. So actually, I think I did showcase this in another video. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the upgrade screen, which is the payment plans. So when the user clicks upgrade on their profile, they're brought to this screen, which is I try to make it minimalistic and more Apple-esque design. And so let's run down the code really quick. So right here, we display a title, upgrade your subscription, and then we have a basic plan, $9.99 a month. I could implement the API endpoints so everything I do on the Stripe application reflects on the app itself, but that's just too many endpoints. Maybe in the future, whenever I get everything more optimized, and it will be quicker to do that. But for now, this is okay. And then right now, we just have the basic and pro plans. The pro plans $19.99, and then we have a continue button, and then we have a complete payment, which whenever the user clicks on the basic plan or the pro plan, it will then turn green to complete the payment. That means it was successfully called back from the server endpoint, and it is ready to go on to the next step. And then we have an about subscription plans. So this navigates to the subscription about screen, which is right here. And this one just contains all the information from the pricing website itself. So if you want to take a more closer detailed look, you could go to the stellarinsight.app, which would then take you here. You could go to pricing, you could check the pricing, you could contact me, you could look at some fun facts if you want to, features. But yeah, the pricings are all here and they're also in the app. So now we have the app.js. Now we have a test publisher key. So this is how you initialize Stripe inside your application. So you would basically have everything inside the Stripe provider in your main application. You have a publishable key, you have a URL scheme that you make. You have a merchant identifier, which is, the documentation said iOS needs this. And in the app.json, we have a new iOS field here under Expo that generates all the necessary iOS application stuff to be configured. And so now we added these 2 more screens so the navigation could navigate to them. So here's the code behind the upgrade screen. We have open payment sheet, which is called, so the first thing that gets called is a fetch payment sheet parameters. This fetches what the user selects. So if they select the basic plan, it will then go to the product ID of what I created on Stripe. Or if they collect the pro plan, and then it goes to the pro plan ID. And then from there, we send a payload to the backend server saying we selected this product ID for this user. And then here is the endpoint that I created in the backend. I'm going to showcase this here in a little bit after we get finished talking about these functions. So then it gets sent back a response with some data in it. The data contains all the necessary Stripe stuff, just like these 3 things here. And this is just from the documentation itself, so I just copied and pasted, and then it goes to the initialized payment sheet whenever the person clicks confirm. And then if they already have the basic plan or the pro plan, it will say you already have the subscription plan. And if they don't have either, it'll show the payment sheet, which is the basic iOS payments. And then whenever they successfully submit the payment, it then goes to another endpoint to update the subscription of the user. So here are some of the functions I've implemented inside the backend server. I'm using MongoDB Realm SDK with Atlas. Here's the upgrade subscription. Whenever they successfully upgrade the subscription, it says if they upgraded to the basic plan, put their subscription to basic. If it's pro, set it to pro. If all else fails, invalid plan ID. If not, then the user is not found or other error codes. And then the return is a success, Boolean, and a subscription, what they subscribe. And that's just for debugging purposes. And then right here, this is where everything got complicated, is the create payment intent. So I did create a environment variable that holds the secret key. The secret key then gets called, well, first the payload that we were talking about earlier gets sent here. JSON then parses it to get the items and the user ID. Then for some reason, MongoDB breaks the SDK itself. I was too lazy to implement my own server and on my own local computer, so I decided to use a cloud-based AWS MongoDB stuff. And also because I have free credits, so whenever the app goes live, some of it is gonna be free on me. So instead of using the require Stripe library, I decided to just do HTTP GET requests, a bunch of them, because it kept on breaking every time I called Stripe. Why? I do not know. I tried to debug it for around 4.5 hours. I've been programming for around 7.5 hours today. So right here, we basically get the product ID. We're gonna create the authorization code, which MongoDB was breaking whenever I called with the Stripe library. So it gets the response, and then it parses the response. It gets the product data, and then we get the amount that I created with metadata. Inside the product itself, if the amount is not found, then send this error. Then we have another post to get the customer, create the new customer, customer data, parse it, Imperial ID, ephemeral. Yeah, ephemeral. What is that? I really do not know. And then we have the payment intent. The payment intent collects all the data that we just created and puts it into its own payment receipt, if that makes sense. Here you can see what it sends to that specific URL. And then we get the data from there, we parse it, and then we create the intent for the user. It just gets logged to the console. And then we return the client secret, and then the IDs. A lot of secrets getting passed around here. I don't know, it's getting sketchy. But then I broke some stuff whenever the person signs up. So each item was initially assigned to a business ID, which is right here. This is the sign up endpoint. I don't want to assign the items to specific IDs anymore, because in the end that just keeps on breaking stuff. So I created something called a unique business token. So the unique business token is randomly generated here in the backend using this token algorithm that I told ChatGPT to write me. And so this basically, I could send you my business ID, and I could also refresh it on my end just in case random people start joining my company that I don't want. I could keep on removing them and then regenerate a new business ID or have it enabled or disabled. So then we would just assign all the items in the company to the unique business token, so everything's just stationary and put together and doesn't break anything. And you can see here that the tokens are not on whenever the person signs up, because I don't actually log the person on whenever they sign up. They have to log in, and then it creates the session ID and the session tokens. So about generating the new business IDs, I created the function here, and it's fully working. I will showcase it at the end of the video. So here's the algorithm that I came up with. It gets half the business name, half the first name, and then it does a little randomizer. And the reason I'm not currently hashing is because the free version of MongoDB Realm is super slow. So whenever I commit my email and password, the password is currently not hashed because it takes around 15 to 30 seconds to create a new password and rehash it and everything. So whenever the app goes live, I'll make sure to implement the hashing features and have all the security measures in place. So here is the current catalog. that I've created, I added a product. We're in test mode, by the way. I added the product right there. We have the basic and the pro plan. The basic plan, $9.99. It does have the product ID right here. And then it has the marketing features that I put, and then the description. And then we also have the pro plan right here. We have the product ID. We have all the features. So I just noticed I was talking about the application itself, and I was not even recording my screen. Really, dude. Okay, so now we're recording the screen, and we're gonna hit the profile. From the profile, where I changed my subscription to the free version, and we're gonna click on upgrade. And right here, we could click about subscription plans. It then shows each plan with each of their features. And so we would hit the back button, or we could swipe to. Let's select the basic plan, complete payment. And here's a free credit card for y'all to use. I'm gonna click pay, green check mark. That means it went through, success. Order has been confirmed. Please log out and log in again to see the changes. So we're gonna log out, and we're gonna log back in. And so we're gonna head back to the profiles, and now we have the business ID and the company members unlocked. So with the business ID, I could then refresh it to generate a new business ID. Click yes, success, and it generates a new ID. But if you have any questions, or please comment them down below, I could then post them on my next video, or just question about the application itself, about what I'm wearing. Because if you use code Ali21 on the Rep Sports website, you could get 15% off. And these shirts are low-key fire. Boom, got the juice box right there. I've honestly had this shirt for a while, so I don't know if they're still in stock, or if they still make the style. But yeah, please like and subscribe.